everybody that's here. It's so great to, I'm just going to click continue. Everybody can say, okay. It's just so great to see all your faces. And if you're not watching this now and you watch it later, it's just great that you're a part of JWOC. And we really appreciate that over the last 15 years, we've just been so lucky to have the supporters that we have and the community that we have. And that's whether that's in Cambodia or Laos or, you know, everywhere we've done projects. And then obviously here in the US, it's just, we couldn't be more thankful. And I think Brandon and I 15 years ago could never have imagined that this would kind of be happening 15 years from now. I'm not sure we thought what would happen, but I just don't think we thought that far ahead. So it's really cool that 15 years later that we're here and that JWOC is still going strong. And I was thinking about this morning because I was thinking, oh, what do I want to say and what anecdotes? And I think the coolest part about JWOC is that it has evolved so much over those 15 years, but it still has this complete core value based around community, based around really the original tagline of see a problem, solve a problem. And I think that original tagline, though it's obviously evolved over the years and the evolution all shows where JWOC has gone, I think it still rings true that what we wanted to do was to not have huge meetings, not take all this time, but be responsive to issues we saw on the ground, respond in a way that we could support the community, empower the community, and be part of the change. And in some ways, the impetus for change, and in other ways, merely, you know, a driver for change. And I think the way that JWOC as an organization has taken on different roles, different appearances even, it's evolved so much based on the people that are involved with it, but it's always kept that core value. And I think to do that for 15 years is unbelievable. I was looking at the statistics of, you know, how long nonprofits usually last, and we're doing really well. We're in it for the long haul. And I think we're so blessed to have the community that we have, obviously in Cambodia, but then also have this extended community of volunteers, donors, board members, you know, just people who have really fought for JWOC and helped it along the way be what it needed to be at that stage of its evolution. So it's really exciting to see that. And then I think, you know, I was thinking obviously about kind of the origins of JWOC, and I thought I would kind of share that story of how that came to be. And then I'm going to hand it over to Narla and have him, you know, share his experience, since he was one of our first, I think the first scholarship student we had. And obviously that program has been the program that has become and is the heart and soul of JWOC, and watching its evolution as it took in what different needs were coming up in the community, and then JWOC would evolve to meet those needs has been really cool to see. But JWOC started, and we've got to give credit here. JWOC started because travelers wanted to make a difference. Travelers came to Cambodia. They loved the Cambodian people. They felt connected, they felt embraced, and they wanted to help solve some of the problems and the challenges that they saw Cambodia facing. And I think Brandon and I were so lucky to be in the right place at the right time, that we were living in Cambodia. We had this amazing kind of entree into the culture in terms of our staff and our team and our friends. And at the same time, we had these amazing guests coming to stay with us at the hotel, going on trips with us. And really, we became kind of the thing that bound them together, right? When we had a community saying, hey, these are our needs, this is what we need, this is how we could evolve. And then we have travelers saying, wow, this place is amazing, these people are wonderful, how can we help? And really, we just became the conduit between the two. And originally what we realized was we were kind of doing that without calling it a nonprofit, without, you know, labeling it. And then what we realized was people really like tax deductions. So we really needed to legitimize it. And I think, you know, thanks to Philippa and the board for that, who went and got us registered. And then John Walsh, who couldn't be here because I think it's actually his wedding anniversary, and ridiculously that took precedent over JWOC's anniversary. but we called him up and said, would you like to come and run this nonprofit that we're starting? And he's like, sure. So we flew from the States to Cambodia, and he was our original director. And, I think he said yes a lot in the first few months, and then learned really fast that he was going to have to say no as well. And would say, to Brandon especially, like, no, we can't do that project. We don't have the manpower, or woman power for that matter. And I remember we wanted to start the small business loan program, and Brandon was really into it. He wanted to do it. We had been doing clean water. We had been working with the community, and we really wanted to do small business loans. And John Walsh said, no. He's like, we can't do it, you guys. I'm overtaxed. We've got so much going on. And we said, well, what would allow you to do it? And he said, well, if I had some help. And the scholarship program was born. We said, well, what if we sent students to school, and in return, they donate hours. So you get your great army of, seeing a problem, solving a problem. And we solve our problem of having a lack of staff. And that's really how the scholarship program was born. And then, speaking of being in the right place at the right time, Narla came along and became our first scholarship student, and obviously our first volunteer, and helped John run that project, the finance project. So it's just so interesting to see like how these things start and how organically they've grown over the last 15 years. And then I was thinking, kind of my favorite story, and I thought, well, to introduce Narla, I'm going to tell my favorite JWOC story, because it involves Narla, and then I can hand it over to him. And we had a client coming, and she wanted to do some philanthropic travel. She wanted to give back while she was there. We tried very hard to make that participatory. We wanted our travelers that wanted to give back to then see the projects, be involved in their giving. And we worked really hard to make that happen. So we had this wonderful woman coming. She had a request to donate to, Narla, I don't know if you remember this, to donate to a single mother that needed assistance. And lo and behold, we had gotten an application from a single mom who they had been living on their land, had plenty of land. Her husband got really sick. They moved to Siem Reap, to one of the squatters' villages, to get him medical help. They sold their land so they could pay for medical care, and he passed away. So she was left with 3 kids, I believe, in a squatter's village. Her husband had passed away. She'd spent all her money on his medical bills, and she was in a very bad place. And after school, she would ride her bike with a small cooler on the back to the school, and she would sell cold drinks and snacks to the kids. But her cooler was about this big, and she didn't have enough ice. So she had actually applied for a small business loan, and we had approved her. And so it was this perfect meeting of a need, seeing a problem, and solving the problem. So I was supposed to take this donor out to meet the woman that she had given the loan to. And for some reason I couldn't. I got caught up in a meeting or something came up, and I said to Narla, could you take her? And Narla said, yeah, of course. I'll take her out there. We'll meet the woman, and I'll let you know how it goes. So off they go. He comes back, and a couple hours later, and I didn't see the guests. I saw Narla first, and I said to him, well, how did it go? And he said, oh, Andrea, it was a lot. He said, the woman, she immediately starts to cry because she's meeting the donor, and the donor starts to cry, and the woman is so happy because, she's able to buy a bigger cooler. We funded her able to buy ice. So now she can sell cold drinks. So now she can charge more. She has a bigger cooler, which means she can, sell more each day and make more each day. And she told the donor and Narla that she had thought that she just had terrible luck. And she thought there was no point in sending her kids to school. There was no point in really making that much of an effort, because she felt like karma kind of had it in for her, and she was really very close to kind of giving up. And then this funding for her small business came along, and she had it for a few weeks now. So she had been paying it back. She was following all the rules and just doing it really beautifully. And she had taken her kids back to school because she now believed her karma was good. And so she's like, well, now my kids have good luck, so I'm sending them to school. And so she was crying, telling this story. The woman who had donated was listening. She was crying. So I look at Narla, I go, oh my gosh, what did you do? He said, what can I do? I cried. And I just thought, to me, that's the epitome of JWOC, right? We are all, and this goes for every director, every communications manager, every employee, every team member, every scholarship student, every board member. We are so emotionally invested in the growth and the empowerment and the opportunity that is available in Cambodia, that we see every day, that when you just give somebody a small hand up or leg up, they absolutely fly with it. And I think the emotion and being able to be part of the solution is incredibly empowering. And for our scholarship students like Narla, to see that, it then empowers them to realize the ripple effect that we can all have, and that JWOC has had on the community and the people, and that goes everybody from Brandon and I, down to everybody that showed up for art class. It was just amazing to see this incredible ripple effect, and it's still one of my favorite Cambodia stories. Is Narla looking at me like, well, I really felt like I had no choice, so no, I just cried too. And yeah, to me, it really sums up what JWOC is all about and how much heart and soul this organization has. And yeah, I'm very proud that it's hitting 15 years and how far it's come, and also how those roots, that complete, passion and heart and soul is still there. That is still exemplified every day by our directors, our board, and our scholarship students, and really everybody involved in the organization. So I'd like to, that's Narla, I want to know if you remember that, first of all, and then I'd like to hand it over to you and just have you tell us a little bit about your experience being the first scholarship student for JWOC and what JWOC means to you.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you. I hope you hear me well, because I'm sitting in a village right here, like next to my house. Big raining right now. Okay.
It makes it better. It's Cambodian. It's atmospheric.
Okay.
Just go with it.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for joining today. I'm really excited. I can't believe this is 15 years. And I look back. I met you and Andrea when I first came to JWOC. Just a fling and I feel that. Of course, I remember the moment when I took time to the village to meet the women to tell me the things. You can tell after her husband passed away, she shaved her hair with a kid inside a really small houses. It was the emotional. It was an emotional moment. I really felt in my heart until now. So I felt very special to be part of JWOC from the beginning till now. Especially, I'm as a sample of the other. More scholarship students, especially like the same, like my age now, most of their parents have gone through a lot of in their life, war and then the poverty and stuff. So more of our parents never finished high school. I couldn't see that. My parents never finished even secondary school. But I'm the first one who's going to high school or go to college and finish it. But before that, it was a struggling. After finish high school, everyone wanted to go to college. But my mom could not say no to me. So she said, okay, go to high school or go to college. I'll pay for your tuition. Or, an 18 years old boy, had no idea how your parents can afford that, but you really want to go to the city. You want to do your study. I was studying for 2 years. My mom paid me. My mom sent me some funds to fund my living costs, tuition. But every year, too. You know, my mom said, I want you to come home. I want to talk to you. Like, Mom, you can talk on the phone. Why you just tell me, no, I want to talk to you. So when I arrived home with my only scooter, I sit down and she was really upset. That I need to tell you one thing, honey. Our family is bankrupt. What? You didn't tell me bankrupt. You had borrowed money for your school tuition for 2 years, and the interest rate is 120% per year. So there's a lot going on in the family. So they decided to sell my motorbike to repay the loan, but not even close to like 25% of the total principal plus the interest. So like, all right, so we don't have a choice then. So we decided to sell motorbike and we say, I go back to senior, decided to not to go to school and see what I can do. But you know, I met Brendan, you know, at my old job. I was working as a tourist police. So work as a tourist police, paying very low. I hate my job because it's not much thing to learn out there because you're young, you don't have much opportunity. Um, but I met Brandon, so and then he told me about a journalism and Jaywalk at the same time. So I told him about my situation, and at the same time he was actually a scholarship student. So I got into the program. I continued my school. I got to work with Brandon and I'm there. Like, wow, got my life back, you know. From those moments until now, you know, it's the thing is changed my life like 180 degrees. Without Jaywalk, I don't think I'm gonna be here standing talking to you. I'd be able to support myself. You know, I learned so much from the program. I learned so much from the community. I really happy to involve with the community. Going to the countryside to, you know, tell them that we accept your business program. You want to expand your business. You want to create your business. We accept. I see those faces, you know, smiling. Like I feel like that's the best time of my life that I got this the opportunity. Um, the other thing is I got to help the other as an example because hey, Melissa, this you know, see he got a really good job. He can support his family, support his niece and nephew, respect. Uh, so yeah, it means a lot to me. Not just only myself directly, but indirect to other people. Seeing that education and working hard and helping others is the best thing you could do, and then it totally impacts your life and your family and your friends. Yeah, I don't think I keep saying again without Jaywalk, I don't think I'm gonna be here speaking to you right now. I would like to thank Andre and Brendan. I thank everyone at Jaywalk alumni and board director, and everyone for your support. I think that's it for now. Andrea, thank you so much.
Thanks, Narla. No, it always, I've heard that story so many times and I still get tears in my eyes whenever I hear it because your parents were so brave. And yeah, I'm glad we had to go to the tourist police. That's all I know. Brandon, did you want to add anything? Did you want to kind of talk about the beginning and then how Jaywalk has evolved?
I wasn't prepared to talk. So I mean, I think you nailed it. I mean, it was always that, you know, what affected us, what then, you know, trying to think what was the most logical way. You know, and I think we keep doing that, is looking at what needs to be done and what's the best way that we can do it on that sort of local and connected way where it keeps, you know, we keep helping people that help people. And so it, you know, the ripple effect keeps getting wider and wider for how many people we helped by, you know, picking out the right people and really making sure we help people that want to help others. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. I think that was always the goal of the organization. And I think what's really neat is we never got stuck in a role. We never said, oh, well, you know, we do clean water. That's all we do. And that's all we can do. And we never got stuck like that. We'd be like, oh, okay, well, actually most of, you know, the villages we can get to easily now have access to clean water. What do they need? And I always loved that JWOC went to the source, right? We didn't try to pretend we knew what was needed or what was wanted. Instead, we would go and chat to the community, to villagers, to chiefs, and figure it out. And we had so many incredible scholarship students that did so much translating. And, you know, I just remember every weekend, it was like this mini army going out on motorbikes, you know, and heading all to different villages to run surveys, to do hygiene projects. All our scholarship students, you know, will remember kind of those years where we were very mobile, always in the community. The weekends were nuts. And then, you know, when that became less necessary, to be able to turn it around and say, actually, one of our strongest projects is the scholarship project. I think it was one of the most innovative projects we came up with. And then how can that evolve to also serve the community as the community evolves? And I think those evolutions, and our organization has, whoever the director is, we're very big on empowering the director as well. And we allow the directors we've had over the last 15 years to also drive the course of JWOC, you know, so all those directors have had so much impact in how JWOC has evolved, how we haven't become stagnant, how we haven't lost our usefulness, if you will. And I think, you know, that's an impressive, you don't always see an organization that's quite as, you know, that is able to evolve along with the community and the community's needs. And I think that's, you know, something from the beginning we really wanted. I remember you came back and you're like, there's this huge conference going on, you know, at Raffles, and they're paying all this money for rooms. And imagine if, and you're like, they're discussing mosquito nets and how they can't afford to give them out. You were so frustrated. And you're like, you know what, we're just gonna, whatever money we get in, it's going straight out. We're not, you know, doing the big dog and pony show. We're just going to our communities and figuring out what's needed and then figuring out a way to make that happen. And I think that continues to this day. That, you know, we had no idea, we'd never run a nonprofit before in our life. And we really looked at it more like a business. Like, this has to be sustainable. This isn't charity, this is empowerment. And those core values, those core beliefs, I think have withstood the 15 years, even as the organization itself has evolved so beautifully over those 15 years. So speaking of beautiful evolutions, I'm going to hand it back so that we can hear a little bit more about what's up and coming, what JWOC is up to at the moment, and what these projects are evolving into.
Okay, so we've got a small presentation prepared for this, just to kind of visualize what those achievements have been and where we're kind of heading into the future, and a few exciting exclusive announcements as well. So I'd like to hand over to Kantia. I'm just going to share my screen.
Okay, so first of all, thanks everybody for joining this event today, and thanks Andrea for the host, and Nala for the beautiful story that you share with us. Again, I'm also feel very excited, and I can't wait for today to celebrate our 15 years. Wow, it's been a long time, but we still stick with the community. This is really something that I would say it is amazing. So linked to what Andrea were talking at the moment about what we have done so far, just a quick summary about what achievement that we have done since JWOC started. So I just want to make the number easy for you. For the first arrow, you can see that within all those programs, except the scholarship, the free classes, the microfinance, the clean water programs, all those things we have benefited to at least 7,000 direct beneficiaries. So those are through all those well that we install, through the student that we have taught, through the budget that we provide them for business loan and all those things. So those are the people that really benefited from us for these many years. And we have had 200 graduates from the scholarship program. And these people, some of them are here with us as well. You can see Nala as example, Bongkanya, also our alumni, and some of our students are here as well. You know, they have graduated and they want to make positive change in their life, and we really, you know, feel so proud of them. There are so many more stories that we can share about their success, but I would just make a summary today, you know. And then what is new is that within these 15 years, we found that we have done a lot, and there are so many things that need to be changes to ensure that the program is still very impactful for the community. So we have identified this new youth development strategy. I will talk to you more about this. So here, who we are right now is that we still a local youth development organization, and we work with low-income youth, you know, from different background and from different area of the country. And our mission is to partner with these low-income youth to be able to fulfill them with capacity, with education, employment, and engagement with their community. So this is just what I said at the moment, the 3 E's that we are focusing on right now in order to have youth to be able to contribute with the sustainable development of Cambodia, and with this education, engagement, employment. We have formed this one page of our plan that we call Theory of Change. So here we have 2 main objectives. Is that we want you to become ready for economic opportunity. And you know, in order to be ready for economic opportunity, it is simple. It is just the same as every other country, is that you need to have knowledge, you need to have skill, you need to have experience. And we also want to make sure that not only that they have those things, but they need to be engaged with their community and be a citizen who are responsible as well. So in order to have those happen, we provide these things in the boxes. As you can see, we provide basic skill, we provide leadership for life and work, we provide work readiness, knowledge and experience, we provide engagement experience, and we provide a supportive network and relationship. I would just go brief in each box, and then we can move forward. So in the basic skill, first of all, we don't just say this is the basic skill that you need. We have done lots of assessment. We have collected all these, you know, information from stakeholders that include the youth themselves, that include the parents, that include other organizations, that include employers and universities. So after all these assessments, we found that basic skill that they need in order to bring them up to the next level, whether to find a better job, whether to go to university successfully, they need some English. They need some knowledge of digital, the computer skill, and they need financial management. They also need 21st century skill, which is including communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking skill. So those for us become the basic skill that we provide to all the students. And then we provide this leadership skill for life and work that include active listening, goal setting, motivation, problem solving, time management, and the work readiness. It's include all how to write CV, preparing for their interview, knowledge about labor law, and also some experience like internship, workplace visit, and all those things that make them ready. And also we, again, because we want them to engage in the sustainable development, we also provide this training called project management. We just want our students to go to the community and do something with plan. with careful plan and make sure that they do less harm or no harm when they do something. For example, before you give somebody something, you need to ensure that you know if there is a need or not. Is that giving is fair or not? You know, is it also, you know, inspire them? Is it also helpful for them and provide impact? So this project management skill we provide to the student, and after the training, they would plan a small project from what they see as a problem that they want to solve in their community. You know, those projects may be something like reducing the plastic usage in the community, the, you know, planting trees, or provide access to information about education. Something like this are the project that our youth has been, you know, produced in the past year, and we are seeing that they are planning some more social project right now, which is very inspiring. And we also have one of our student Chawi join as well. Chawi has provided access to information about scholarship program to many youth, I would say, and we found around 10 students apply for the scholarship program this year, telling that they know this information through Chawi. So yeah, that is one of the things I can highlight here. And aside from that, as you can see, supportive network, we provide this counseling and mentoring as well. We know that the student will have to study, will have to work, and will have to come to JWOC and doing this everything at JWOC as well, 3 or 4 things at the same time, while taking care of their family and themselves. They went through so many things. As youth, that they have to work and study and deal with so many problems, we need to help them with mental health. We need to provide them with support, motivation, and all those things. So mentoring program is also existing. And we provide some health training. We ensure that parents are engaged when they have problems. And we also provide emergency relief. For example, like during the pandemic, we also provide financial support to the most needed students who unemployed because of this pandemic as well. And yeah, those are the things that we have been providing so far, and we hope that, we believe that this will bring us to achieve the 2 objectives that we want, is that they are ready for their economic opportunity and engage with their community through 2 programs. So the programs that we have right now are scholarship and Better Futures program. The scholarship, I guess we have talked a lot about it. It's the youth who go to university and receive all these things. And the Better Future program is very new. We just, when we did this strategy, we found that to wait to have them until they finish high school and have them to go to university is great. But what if we have them earlier to prepare them to make a better decision, whether or not after graduation from high school, they should go to work, or they should go to university, or they should, you know, take vocational skill. What if we have them prepare ahead of time? That would be provide, you know, more impact. So that's why this Better Futures program happened. So we work with high school students from grade 10 to grade 12. That is one group. And we also work with the post-high school students who finish high school already and normally work under low skill. They don't know what else to do. They don't have enough skill to gain better employment. They don't have, you know, ability to go to university. So we have those students to go through our program as well. The training that we provide are all the same in the boxes, but it may be a little different level based on their basic knowledge from the beginning. So these are the 2 programs we are running so far. So within this new strategy from 2023, we expected that we will have 45 new scholarship students, 75 new Better Future high school students, and 225 new Better Future post-high school students. So this is from 20 to 23. But sadly, this pandemic came up in 2020, as you all know, and we've tried to do all these things online. which means that not that everything 100% has been implemented, but we've tried our best to find alternative in order to still ensure that our students receive what they're supposed to do. So in order to do this well, we have found that we need to strengthen some of the area that we have to do. For example, the social engagement. We will ensure that the project can be done online. We will include youth coalition. That is not just about youth at JWOC, but we will allow our youth to collaborate with other youth from other organizations, from the university, to do something that are run by themselves as well. And we also will ensure that we strengthen and make our mentorship program bigger by including our alumni, by include, external influencer to help support our students. And we also need to help our students more with employment by increasing the network and giving them more time for doing the work experience to compete in the job market. Hopefully after COVID, they will, just go back to their life and be stronger. And also this literacy thing is that we will enhance some more activity with partners. Hopefully after COVID, we will have guests come back to visit, and these guests who speak English language will also join the program to enhance the learning practice of the language with our students. And we may have some volunteers, something like that, so back to the center as well. And we also need to build our staff capacity stronger. We are providing some more training to the team on the mentoring, on building resiliency, on running project in a simple way but impactful. So any of you who join here will always have opportunity to participate in all these things. I think that is all of my slide, Kisha, correct?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much, Kantia, for doing such a great overview as well. I think it's going back to what Andrea was saying at the beginning, it's beautiful how much JWOC has evolved. And I think focusing on the community and then changing to really focus on those young people who are the ones who will eventually contribute back to their community, either within our programs or beyond them. And so I think that's a really beautiful way to look at it. And I'm so amazed by how JWOC has responded to COVID-19, how we've worked together as a team, how our donors and supporters have come together, and it really represents everything JWOC stands for. And so something that we'd like to share with you as well, and I think it's the next slide if I remember correctly, is to really mark this momentous occasion. Something that we plan to do was to ensure that JWOC adequately represents this new strategy that we have. Which is very much related to what we've done in the past and that evolution. And so I'd like to show to you today JWOC's new logo. This is something we've been working on over the last year and one of my favorite legacy projects for the organization as well, to really represent what it is that we've been doing over the years. This orange triangle from the beginning, you'll probably remember with the 3 E's. And this is basically to represent our new work and hopefully will carry us through to the next 15 years of JWOC. And it basically is supposed to represent the countryside, so the red roads and the blue sky and the rice paddy fields. And this is really the foundation for our youth, the bottom triangle, and our youth as they join our programs, and then our youth as they continue through those programs and give back to the community. So we're really excited to launch that as of today. If you've visited JWOC's website, big shout out to Mickey, who's on this call, who supported us with this transition as well. You will see some of that new branding on there. And I know a lot of people resonate with the boy and the elephants, and that's very much still a part of our history, but I'm really excited for this new step into the future as well. So we will have a session sort of towards the end. There'll be an opportunity for questions and answers. So if you've got anything you'd like to ask, but for now, I'm going to stop sharing the screen. And I'd really like to invite Chobi, who we've spoken about before during this call, who'd like to speak to all of you. And so just to go through that, I've prepared a few questions for her as well, which will kind of guide us through. But if you've got any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself a little bit later as well. So Chobi, are you here?
Yes, Kisha, I'm here.
Great, nice to see you, Chobi. So could you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and why you became a JWOC student?
Yeah, so thank you, Kisha, for letting me introduce myself. And first of all, I would like to heartfully thank to Kisha management team and all the donors for allowing me to attend this meeting. I'm very happy today. Yeah, so my name is Chawi, and I am a year 3 student, semester 2 at the University of Southeast Asia, Siem Reap Province, Cambodia, and my major is English for teaching, or we can call it TESOL. So yes, of course, Kisa, I can become a JWOC student for 3 reasons, I would say. Let me show you. So the first reason is is about my commitment. Because I have a very strong desire to go on higher education at the university, because I think that education is really important for every single person all over the world. That's why I try to seek the scholarship providing, and finally I find JWOC, and JWOC also find me. Yeah. And for the second reason, because I want to have my family, I want to help them get a better life and avoiding from poverty. Yeah. And the last one, because I want myself, sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. I want myself to contribute in the community development by volunteering or creating a project to solve communities problem. Yeah, and I am completely blown away by being a part at JWOC organization, and I would say that massive thank you to JWOC for provide me such a great opportunity and selecting me as a scholarship student. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chobi. That was a really beautiful introduction, and I love how we can really see your commitment come through as well. I think your energy is really infectious. And so when you joined the JWOC program, you started off with sort of the volunteering, which is what JWOC had always done for several years. And then kind of halfway through joining the program, we switched over into sort of youth development through our new strategy. And so how do you feel about that change from volunteering to learning in workshops and classes?
Okay, so I think that this change is a good strategy for me and other youth, because it gives our young people have more time to learn different knowledge. And as we know, obviously our students have various workshops from year 1 to year 4, like Sister Guntia said before. We have basic skill, leadership, engagement skills, supportive network, and relationship. And I think that JWOC provide a lot of trainings to our students. Yeah. And for me, as a 3rd-year student, I am currently studying about the project management. Yeah, that is very special for me to study about this. So all of this knowledge and skills can make our youth have the foundation to develop themselves, to be better, and build their capacity. Yeah, and they will have a decent job and a bright future, I would say. Yeah, that's all my answer.
It's a great answer, and I'm glad you're enjoying the change. So one of the things that we're really amazed by with our students, and especially the high school students as well, is so many of them joined our program and immediately got whisked into online learning. And that's something we've been so impressed by, the retention in our programs, despite this change in learning platform, and impressed by how much they've built their resiliency through this process as well. So Chobi, if you can tell everyone a little bit about what is it like to learn online, both at JWOC and at university? How have you dealt with that change?
About the online class, right, Kisha?
Yes.
Okay, so actually, it is a very difficult situation for me and also for other students as well, you know, because online class make me, yeah, I tell you the truth. Oh my God. Sorry. I tell you the truth that online class make me feel complicated and, you know, upset sometimes because of the internet. The internet connection is not well and very bad weather that always interrupt my lesson. Yeah, and but I try my best to fight with it, you know. So what do I do? For instance, I always move to sleep at my aunt's house every night that is very far away from my village. I do that in order to attend online class, because if I sleep at my home, there is no internet at all. So I have to do that. And you know, whenever it has a heavy rain, I will probably miss class automatically because it has it has a lot of thunder and lightning, and everybody scared with this. So I try to decide to miss my class, and then I try to ask my friend, and I go to research in Telegram group in order to, you know, find out the lesson. If I have something wondering, I ask my friend and ask teacher. Yeah. Thank you, Kisha.
Talk about resiliency. That's so incredible, and actually something, Chobi, I've never even known about before. So thank you for sharing that story with us and for your dedication to learning. You can definitely tell she's really committed to education. And I'm so impressed as well that you were able to share the scholarship opportunity with other youth, because then you have that ripple effect from you to others as well. And I've got one more question, but again, if you have questions, feel free to let us know. Chobi, how do you feel now that you're going through JWOC's program? How do you feel like it's preparing you for your future and the things that you would like to accomplish in your lifetime?
Okay, thank you. So okay, thank you, Kisha, for your question. Yeah, I think all the training courses at JWOC are really crucial for me. Yeah, in order to apply at working field, communication, and daily life. And what I have learned the most at JWOC instantly is about the project management. Yeah, because you know, this subject gives me with critical thinking skills, and also teach me how to solve a problem. So you know, in the future, if I see or if I think my community face some problems, I will make a team and use all the knowledge that I have learned from project management to tackle my community's issue.
That's great.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Okay, so thank you, Chobi, for spending your time with us here today as well. We don't have any questions here, but this is just to Kantia, to Andrea, to Brandon, and to Narla. There's a couple questions here from Facebook because we're live streaming right now, is about the digital situation in Cambodia. So how can young people, you know, utilize technology to better themselves and better their community and to build their educational capacity? And I'd love to hear if anyone has any thoughts related to this.
Sure. I mean, I think the pandemic has had some silver linings. I mean, in general, terrible, but there have been some silver linings. And I think one of those silver linings is that we have really figured out how to function in a digital world, right? We've all been locked away, yet somehow we've all stayed connected. We've all learned something, grown, you know, been able to work. Life hasn't stopped. It may have slowed down a bit, or it may have gotten a little trickier. But I think what I would encourage for anybody, I mean, I went back to school during the pandemic as well, because it seemed like a really good opportunity. And the one thing that I really realized was how many resources there are out there, right? Whether you're watching TED Talks or you're signing up for a free course in whatever interests you, I think there's so much opportunity in the digital world to enhance our knowledge above and beyond just our community. And then I think the challenge, and what JWOC students are so good at, is taking what they learn outside and bringing it back to their community and creating that ripple effect that we've been talking about. What we realized early on was that every scholarship student we had so much more impact than we ever could, right? They would go back to their village, they would go back to their community, they would talk about how they're going to university, they would show some of the older generation that this was possible, that their kids could go too, and really you could change so much. And I think what the digital evolution gives us is that we can go out and learn so much from other cultures, from just, I mean, there's too much information to even start to process how much is out there, but that you can find what interests you and find something that inspires you, and find something, you know, if you're interested in public speaking or, you know, anything really, you can find a million digital resources for that. And then it's really what the challenge then is turning that around and figuring out how what you've learned can help impact your community in a positive way. And I think, to me, that's what this pandemic has proven, is that we all can have so much impact, even sitting in our living rooms. We're able to really get so much out of the world and the resources available.
Thanks, Andrea. And I would like to add a little bit to that as well. Just a real example, just what Andrea just said, you know, we've been trying to, before COVID, we've been trying to integrate technology in learning. But it's been very difficult for our students to do so. We encourage them to do research, to try different applications and things like that. And you know what? Because of COVID, here the student now experience it automatically. So that will be the part that we have to thank this pandemic, is that we make the student learn through online. They now research for different things and share across the team. They experience the Google Classroom, they experience this Zoom, they experience other things that are the platform that they can share, and they go and research, and now they use Facebook more as for learning rather than just, you know, communicating for their, you know, with their mates and things like that. So this has been make them changes to use more technology for benefit as well, for learning, for education as well. So it's really helped us that by the end of COVID, we still be able to have our students to explore more as well. So that is just what I want to add.
Thank you both so much. I think that's a really nice way of pulling together how there's so much commonality in Cambodia, but across the world as well, and the impact technology can make and how useful it is. I mean, it's helped all of us to join this call today as well. So again, it's working out well. Is there anyone who's on the call who would, you know, like to say anything, if they're an alumni or a current student of JWOC, or anyone else who's joining us on the call who'd like to pose a question to our participants today? Feel free to raise your hand or unmute yourself and go ahead. There's no questions, that's also okay.
Keisha Cooper wanted to come and say hi to everybody. When we started JWOC, he wasn't born yet. He was born a year after we founded JWOC, and now he's huge. You say hi.
Hi.
Hi,
Nice.
Cooper.
Our law helped raise Cooper, so it's nice.
Oh, wow. Cooper, you're a boy now.
All right, that's it. You're off the hook. Thanks, Koopy. It puts it all in
Perspective when you realize that it's older than Cooper. So if there aren't any questions, Keisha, are you okay with me kind of closing it out?
Yeah, I think so, because I checked Facebook as well and there aren't any more questions. Sorry, someone's coming into the room. So yeah, I think it makes sense to close off. But before that, since we have everyone here and this will also be sent out to, our supporters and donors as well, I just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone that has supported JWOC over the years. I felt incredibly lucky to work with JWOC over the past 3 years as well. And I'm really glad that we were able to facilitate this call and have so many people join us. And some of you may know that this is sort of my last year at JWOC. And so next month is my final day of work. We're really glad to have the next development manager of JWOC on this call as well. And I look forward to introducing her to everyone in our next newsletter when we will also send out the recording to this meeting. So that's all from me. And thank you everyone for joining. Over to you, Andrea.
Thanks, Keisha. And yes, a huge thank you to you. Your impact over the last 3 years has been ginormous. And I think everybody on this call is so appreciative. And then beyond that, I know every scholarship student, you've touched so many lives and we just can't thank you enough. And we will miss you, but we are very excited as always to see where this takes JWOC. And I mean, really like girl power shout out, right? We now have all our executives at JWOC are women, and I couldn't be more proud of that. And it shows how far the organization has come in Cambodia and just what a cool thing that's even possible there. So thank you to you, Keisha. Thank you to Contia. That was great to just see what we're working on, where it's going. And I think, yeah, I mean, if that is exactly what JWOC is, it's that we are always looking forward. We're always looking for what's next. We're always looking to see what can serve the community best, how to make that an empowering, sustainable move forward. And so as always, the wheels will keep turning. And, I'm so proud that for 15 years, I just feel like all of us, everybody on this call, everybody that's donated, all the scholarship students, they're throwing pebbles into the lake. And when you look at the big picture of the lake, there's just ripples everywhere, right? The impact that each person in this organization has had is mind-blowing. And I am sure Brandon and I did not predict that in the early days. But I'm incredibly proud of the organization, of everybody that's had an impact on the organization. And yeah, I just am excited to watch where it goes next. And I'm also excited to come back to Cambodia because all the noises behind you guys are just killing me. I'm so homesick for Cambodia. So thank you all. We miss Cambodia. I'm excited to come back and see it soon, see the projects, see the scholarship students. But for now, just really proud of the work everybody has done over the pandemic, keeping JWOC on track, pivoting, figuring out solutions to problems that have cropped up every day of the pandemic. And I just think to have gotten through this, it really shows that the future has just full potential. So thank you to everybody. Thank you to all our donors. Thank you to all our scholarship students. And just congratulations to everybody for getting this organization through 15 years.